I'm out of coffee too. Good evening. I'm starting 15 minutes early. I was just want to record this though. So it is about 8:16 right now p.m. going into Friday. Thursday night going to Friday. I decided to do a little research session tonight. I have to do it for my own research. So I figured if I'm going to be here, I'm snowed in at the office. It's a blizzard outside. My car is the only one that's on the road, parked on the road, and it's covered with snow. This is definitely a bigger storm than they predicted, and it's like freezing rain coming down now. So I'm stuck here for the next few hours. Maybe I always had that one day I'm gonna get stuck at the office. I'm gonna have to sleep in the office, and I said I would never sleep. I would do a 24-hour show. I would never be able to sleep in the office. Even if I was stuck, I would be on the mic trading all night. And I'd be dead I'd be like wiped out the next morning. So, with that being said, market's actually at the lows right now. But we did have a great bounce today. And we're just talking about, what we usually start off is looking at the markets. And who knows what's going to happen right now. I got my machine up. I got my trading Dom up. I got everything ready to go. So if we get a setup tonight, I will take it. No doubt about it. And again, you know my setup. If you don't know my setup, that's why you're here, because that setup works. And it's only about how do you approach waiting for that setup to set up. It'll eventually set up. Sometimes they set up a lot. Sometimes you're waiting for them. It's your discipline and your patience and how that weighs on the success of being a trader. Because I guarantee you just traded a certain setup that we teach here. I teach that we follow constantly and see the results. Everything else has to just be, that's already there for you. Everything else has to be molded around that. That's where the hard stuff comes. Placing the stop, figuring out the profit potentials. The entries are great. The entries are always going to give you a high probability directional trade in the direction of that. Understanding the overall markets, how long that bounce will last, will get people in trouble. It's still a tricky game, trading. Even though we got half of it figured out, there's still a lot of mental issues going on. Every trade is life or death for some people. So there's a lot of other aspects of the trade that you have to really focus on, not just having a great technique or a great system. And there's no holy grail. These things get run over. I've seen it and know what to expect, and know when we set up for it too. So over time, you can actually maybe even predict, a fake out, breakout, or something that's not going to work by looking at other indicators. So big shout out to everyone in the room. G-Man, Fro, Magoo, One. Vinny Two Tones, Viljar driving. Viljar is always like, I'm driving. He's in the chat room typing and driving. I'm driving. It's like, oh boy. We had a truck driver that used to call in, driving. I don't know whatever happened to him. I feel he might have went off a bridge in the trade. He was trading. A laptop next to me, calling me up. He's trading. Put in his orders while he's driving. I said, you really, want to be telling me this? Day trading truck driver. If you're out there, you know who you are. So today we did have that nice bounce. And like I said, I want before I record, I said, I want to boast a little on this because I was sitting on my hands the whole week. First of all, my week started off in a kind of a mental weird way, and I just was out of it it was the holiday session, right? It was a holiday session, and I think I took one trade. I got this buy. No, did I do something? I'm trying to think what got me tilted early that day. For some reason, that's just everything wasn't going down. I wasn't trading. I didn't feel like trading. I think my kid was home from something, so I was just kind of out of it. Then I was like watching this market sell off. And seeing that weakness, and then almost not wanting to be part of it. And then the next day, I didn't want to have anything to do with the market because I felt it was real weak. I didn't want to try to catch a bottom. But then again, I didn't expect the sell-off to last more than, going to Thursday. I thought that, a latter part of the week we could get a bounce. So it was kind of an area there. I had to wait for the buy signal instead of taking that short. So today we had, and again, I just want to, there's got to always be a reason you're getting in. Everyone's reason might be a little bit different, but I'll explain mine. You look at a chart like this, and you definitely, you look at them long enough, you'll see that the charts kind of do the same thing. You get an uptrend, you move up, and you pull back, and you stair step up, usually making higher highs and higher lows. And the opposite's going to be happening on the downtrend. Those pivots are what I, want to specialize in. That change of trend is, we could usually see a divergence, what we call a divergence, or reversal candles. So there's a lot of things that could pinpoint a area that we want to be interested in. It's easier at those levels. Stochastics help us get down to a point where we're able to see that the price is trading. Kind of stochastics working, not to get really into the stochastics, but that oversold level, as this is trading down, the price is actually, on average, is closing lower and lower on the bar until it gets finally oversold. And being able to measure that with the price, you start to actually see a good way of measuring out price divergences versus the selling pressure. And that's what I like to find. And when we find those, it's a tremendous success rate. Now you can find those on all the different time frames. Sometimes you find it on the daily. Sometimes you find it on the 60, 5 minute, 1 minute. I try to kind of concentrate on the 1 minute because we're watching the market tick by tick. And it would be kind of boring if we were just watching for hourlies. But it's easy enough to scale through everything. Go to the 1, 5, 60, daily, all the way out. So we've been following this market down, and we know it's been rough. And we actually had a divergence here. This was our divergence call back here with a reversal candle. We actually got this beautiful, beautiful pop. And we were on this. This was our pullback call. And it was basically a divergence setup. Now we're interested in this latest pullback, and that's, we got oversold again. All right. We got oversold on the daily, the 60-minute time frame at the time too. And we're looking at just the beginning of the day here was on a lower trend line. Look at that trend line. Any of these technical levels, be it a trend line, a channel line, a support and resistance line, a moving average, all of those have potential to move the stock. When they all line up, they have a greater potential. That's when you talk about the algorithms kicking in. So we look for that. We look for the combination of these indicators all lining up, a combination of candlesticks, trend lines, stochastics. But again, the closest thing here, and the holy grail, is that divergence. And when you see it, and I stress it so much, and you feel that that I'm passionate enough about it because I love it so much.
Tradometer YM oversold.
Gotta wait for it, you just gotta wait for it. And you gotta see it. So, here was the one on the 60. It was just a nice low right here, and then we popped back up a couple candles and then dropped lower and had a reversal. And we held above that 20 line right there. So, that was a decent enough divergence where the criteria is very strict. This doesn't just set up all the time. So when it does set up, you have to pay attention to it. And that 60-minute time frame, divergence proved its perfect, measured move out of a divergence like this, and the channel is outside the channel the target will be. So a divergence typically breaks out of downward channel. It's usually a divergence is a major pivot in the market. So that's that was the reason we really like this zone here on the hourly. Now, actually held into today. We bought the calls here, and and it rallied and took one off and holding a couple. Because I do think we have that follow through. The 60-minute is getting up there, but the 14.3 here, the little longer stochastic, it's not quite overbought. Once it gets up here, you're playing the other time frames also. You want to make sure everything's in sync. I mean, the news is going to be a big part of this, how the things start off in the morning. But I think the momentum on the daily is good. The candle was nice, and take it we don't get any severe bad news. I think we can get a follow through tomorrow on this. But I wouldn't bet the farm on it because, like I said, we've been seeing down day, up day, down day. Up day, then down day, up day. It's very volatile. Even even though we could go back into today's, it really is news. I have a feeling the news is going to rule this. If I was just technically looking at it, I would say, well, this should get some follow through. We started to turn back up here on the daily. The weekly is very bullish. The hourly is just getting up there at a pretty decent candle. And here's that trend line. And we kind of retraced to the trend line and actually bounced off of it. Possible head and shoulders on the daily. Let's take a look at that. Inverted head and shoulders pattern. That's what we're talking about. Inverted head and shoulders. I mean, they have an argument for that. That people will say that, well, that looks like an inverted head and shoulders. You have a balance of further move down to the lows and then a higher low. Downward channel, pop, pull back. Yeah, everything does look like it. There used to be so many great books on technical analysis. I think, I'm trying to remember, Martin Pring had a really good one. And they did volume studies, how the volume had to line up. The candle in relationship to the volume and the pattern, seeing accumulation and distribution, seeing that in the volume too. So usually these patterns would play out just like the volume, but you don't see it. It's hard to look at that volume and really analyze. I don't look at the volume too much anymore. It is good to have that volume coming into the price, and decreasing as it sells off, and you less and less sellers. So it looks good for tomorrow. It's Friday. There's news out there. I wouldn't bet the farm on it, but I like the candle. It's what we call a piercing pattern. Takes out the lows. It closes higher than the previous, 50% of the previous candle. Typically, that's a bullish candle. Volume was increasing on that candle. So, I mean, those little things like that typically are what we want to read into a little. Other than that, I think it's news. So I wanted to go over some stocks tonight. I want to do, get my research going. I might as well, if you guys are going to be here hanging with me, I might as well do it live. And then even if you're not there, remember I'll send this out to you. This is really going into next week. This is starting off my work tomorrow. I'm getting an early jump on it. I still like this SWK for a follow-through. And this is very bullish. When you don't rotate all the way down, you give a kind of a Nike check mark. I really do look into the way the stochastics sometimes roll or the fast snaps and, the way, just everything about it. Read into divergences. So this was a really nice trendline hold, an engulfing pattern. Nice snap back up, looks very strong. I think we got easy follow through on this SWK, and there's a big space up here from 128 all the way up to like 150. The 200 period moving average is 140, and it's at 126. So I definitely see us going higher on this. 135 would be a great level. 135. SWK. All right. I tell you, when Trump comes out with that deal, though, they're going to come to some deal. It's going to be like musical chairs. You're going to have to sit down real fast, or whatever analogy you want to use, but you want to hold on because the market's going to whip around. And good deal, market definitely is going to jump. You don't want to. You got to be ready for that. I don't know if the market's going to read into that and smell that. Is there going to be rumors leading into it, and then the market's going to rally? I think there's more positives out there. All right, let's start off with a couple that I'm watching for tomorrow. Coop. I've been following this one. It's holding one of the tech stocks that are kind of the new breed of tech, cloud software, managed. I couldn't even tell you what they do, but I know a lot of people in the industry that use this company, and I was turned on to it by them, and I got in and I had some good trades on it, and now it's recently pulled back, and I'm getting back into it. So off the 200, starting to turn back up. There is a little divergence here on the 14.3. There's here you can see the 14.3 is holding way above that 20 line. This low. You can see the series of triple lows here. I just, I like it. I like it. What I like about it is we gapped up, we came back, closed that gap, pushed a little higher, came back, closed that gap again, starting to push back up. What does that tell you?
Tradeometer ES oversold.
The momentum has already shifted as we were making lows. So this divergence should bring us out further if this divergence holds. If there's any failure in this, starts to turn over, gets weak, I would say, I would probably be a little bit more concerned. I don't see that happening, though. So that's that one. Tomorrow is a big day for this, for me. SWK Team, TEAM. I didn't get in this, but that's a very similar one. Newer type of stock. Very, these are the stocks that you need to, if you want to get the best returns, you got to belly up, right? And take a shot with it. This moved up about 89-90% last year. 90%, and these companies are going to go higher and higher. NOD, ServiceNow. Got into this one today. Just like the oversold level. Pulled back. I read into the earnings when they came out with earnings. Never traded this one except right now. So I look into the earnings. I charted it. I said, wow, great level here. Look at how it bounced. Came back, closed that gap. Now trying to move it. The earnings were good. I think they raised guidance. I think the pullback is just, it's just going to say, all right, there's nothing wrong with this. They're making money. This is probably an opportunity. We're going to get back above that 200. This is really looks really nice. I think the 185s I got on this. What did I get on this? I don't even know. NXPI? No, that was the NXPI. Now, 185s, December's 185s. Paid $4 for them. $4. All right. I like it. I picked up some NXPI today. Been bugging me. I said, wow, this is a stock I used to follow all the time. Thought it was going to get bought out. Traded it all back here in 2017. It did get, I guess, an offer from Qualcomm for $125, $126 a share. I think there was a regulatory issues that something happened and something happened and it fell apart. Fell apart, of course, down here, but look where it is now. It's even down lower than that. That seemed like a buy right here. And look at the bounce. This looks actually great. The more I look at this initial bounce. I have to look into it. I mean, is the technology flawed or something? What did this thing was dropped like it was contagious? This thing is way off the highs. And what made Qualcomm offer $126 for it? and now it's only worth $84. So I have to look into this one a little bit more. I picked it up today, you know. I liked the consolidation. Didn't really sell off the last couple of days. I think we moved higher on this. I think we could probably... Yeah, this is good. I'm happy that I'm just reviewing this with you right now because I do like that more and more. This is the time. All right. So that now team we get those are the ones I'm really interested in. Now what I'm going to do, and you could hang out. I could go through them and come back. But I do kind of a speed charting here. I have a list over here. And it goes from A to Z. And right now it contains 208 stocks. 208 stocks. And I visually go through these from the top to the bottom. And I usually start off with the daily. And that's the daily here on Advanced Auto Parts. I remember this stock back here. I said, I don't want to touch this crap. This was at $81. Look at this, $179. God, I was so scared of this. Now look at it. Holy crap. No way am I chasing it up here. I didn't believe in it back then. I didn't follow it too much. All right, so here's Apple. Everyone wants to know about Apple. I kind of made us think today because everyone was so concerned. Everyone was on Twitter concerned about Apple entering bear market territory, and then the big number, and it was on CNBC flashing Apple enters bear market territory. Coming up next, a manager saying it's time to dump Apple. Is it time to dump Apple? All these people in here now that's in bear market territory. Now it's time to dump Apple. Not now it's at a 30% discount off the highs. These people are probably long, and they're like, "Oh God, we're gonna have to cover our asses and let's just go with the flow." And but they tend to always be wrong. All of a sudden, they're like, "Oh, sell, sell, sell." Tell me to sell up here at $240. Don't tell me to sell down here at $190. When Warren Buffett is, at my back. He got my back, right, Warren? But yeah, all the suppliers, all the yada, 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 suppliers coming out saying, and I tell you, and if you're in the markets like I am, every single year I hear the suppliers, rumors coming out of Apple.com or, Apple supplier magazine saying that so-and-so is not ordering as much. I think I've heard it for the last 6 years. Easy. Maybe it's real this time. Maybe it is. But this looks like a bargain down here for the Apple with all that cash. They're one product away of freaking moonshot. Imagine coming out with something else just like the iPhone. It just revolutionizes something and everyone needs to have it. Are they going to be able to do it? I don't know. I want to know if Apple has secret, what do you call it, labs where they're working on top secret stuff. Like, are they making a robot, a real looking robot? Anyway, I'm going off topic, and I'm not even past the A's yet, so this might take longer. All right, let's go through. So Apple, I like it. Alexion. So what I'm doing right now, just running through a reversal candle. That's not bad. AbbVie here. Look at that trendline retracement. That came right down to it. It was it's a good tradable stock. It's flagging out right now. It actually looks very nice. ABBV. Here's ACN. Do you hear my whistle? It's like I have a hole in my mouth. Archer Daniel Midland. ADM. It could be a divergence. I like this stock. I like the candle on this. And I should get a pen and write this one down. I'll write this one down if I can find my pen. No, here it is. All right, ADM, Archer Daniel Midland. Good reversal candle, possible divergence. And what I'll do is I'll go through all 200 stocks here. This is a great ADP. Very strong. Outside day, curled back up. Very Nike check markish, which is good. What was the other one we talked about? We've got that. The Nike check mark up here. There's so many stocks. I'm going to write this one down just to follow it tomorrow. Hold on, desk. All right. Aetna. Very strong. Strong stock. Incredibly strong. Yeah, I know. It's just like they gotta make another camera on the phone. Nothing comes from the new iPhone. It's like they try to make it sound, put lipstick on it. It's given a new a multi-pixel. I'm trying to make up a word. Retina display. That's already taken. Amber zoomed, light fractional cube lens. Yes. What did he say? What did Tim just say? Don't tell me it has the light fractional cube lens. I heard about that. Hi, Shogun. How do I get John? Finally ending active duty. Congratulations and thank you for your service. Getting back into the game. So how do you develop the list of stocks you run through your mentioned 200 plus stocks? All right. So I'm using a platform called the TC2000, and you can make different lists. And this is just years of trading. If I get to a stock and I always, I find it a good tradable stock, a stock that patterns out. Well, I always mention the term pattern out, something that's organized. We see divergence is very clean, and they have a history of divergence. And I like to go back to things that have a history, and I'll go back and I say, wow, another nice divergence here. Very easy one to call. Look at the result. Go down. Big divergence right here. Huge divergence right here. Look at the result. Big move. So it's if I find something like that, I'll put it in my watch list because I want to be able to catch it on the next. I want every one of these stocks. I want to call the high probability watch list because they have to be quality names. They have to have some type of pedigree to it. I don't like using this for penny stocks or low float pumpers or off pink sheets or it has to be something. And I usually use 500, when I do all my scans and automated scans, I just put the S&P 500 through the scan. It'll take all 500 stocks and run a formula on them and it'll return it. So that's an easy way of starting right there. Just use the S&P 500. Those stocks are the the best. AKAM, a good one. Allstate. It's a weird kind of chopping. I don't know. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm just going through some of these. Amazon, pretty decent candle. I mean, if we have a gap up tomorrow, you could see this gapping up a lot. Once we break through this, it's an old trend line. We tagged it. We chopped around it. It's very choppy, but I still think it's going to hold. Big candle, then we gapped up and ran. Tomorrow, this thing could gap and go. This might be one of the bigger movers if we do get a rally tomorrow. This could be one of those 60, 70 point days on this. So let's remember that for tomorrow. I mean, Friday, I don't know. We'll see how the Friday works, but this, I like it. So that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to go through as many as I can. Activision, 5-7 day pullback. I got to get something in my throat here. Hold on. My throat is getting scratchy. That's right. I'm going to start the recording. I'm going to have a best bet before the night's over. Oh my God. That was so good. Activision. I do believe video games are just knowing kids. I have kids that really into video games, and all their friends are into video games. It's hard not to believe that there is not another. You have to be in the industry. I feel a little bit more if I'm following it, or if we get a good divergence. Right now, it's a 5 to 7 day pullback. Should start rotating back up. Wow, throat's killing me. Putting in some extra time, Johnny. Broadcom, strong, nice candle, Nike check mark. I think they're going to get some follow through tomorrow. American Express, like it a lot. I do like it. It's starting to build. The brand is starting to build here. Take a look at that weekly chart too. That American Express is actually a great setup here. I like it a lot. I'm going to write this down. AXP, American Express. Still in the A's. But I'm already getting some. So here's Boeing on the weekly. Starting to lose it a little on the weekly there. Not interested here. I put this one on my list. I don't follow it. I'm going to probably end up taking it off. Charlie, Prolong Wells used to always trade this one, so I followed it, but haven't traded it in a while. Chart. I haven't traded it. And again, I tend to put on stocks. Getting back to that last question, I tend to put stocks on here that I trade. So if I end up trading it, I usually put it on the watch list. Or if I find it on an HPS scan or something, I like it, I'll say, let me put it on the watch list. I want to come back and look at it. So it's grown over the years. I try to trim it out. Like right there, I'm going to trim out baby. It never got really too much over 200, so I've been kind of keeping an eye on it. That gets a lot. There's a lot of stocks to go through, but during the research, I go through all of them, and then maybe it gives me 20 stocks that look interesting, and then from those I'll I'll go through those with a like kind of a microscope and look more on the news, insiders. Then I'll we'll see how many setups it has and see what we can, which one ends up being the best risk reward trade. And maybe there's a lot of them. Maybe there's a lot of good ones. Like today, I'm happy about a couple of these that we're seeing. Berkshire Hathaway here pulling back, not closing the gap yet. I'm not that interested. Just going through these. Cigna's always a good one. Yeah, not Clorox has been super strong. CLX, super strong. What a flag! Extremely, extremely strong. I'm gonna actually write that one down. Nice CMG divergence. Nice pullback in CMG, but I have no interest in it anymore. ConocoPhillips, it's not yet. Costco, not bad. Coop, I do like it. It has a slight divergence. Something smells of a divergence there. CRISPR, I don't know why I have it on here. Someone mentioned it to me. I charted it out and I said, wow, look at that. Nice channel. Let's watch the channel. I just have it to watch. Credit Suisse thought about taking a position today into European Brexit issues and stuff, and the negativity coming out of the European banks. So, hoping to catch a gap down, and it gapped down and reversed, but it sure didn't move a lot. So, I don't want to get stuck in anything like that anymore. CVS, very strong. Data, someone brought that up today. That's pretty good too. There's a Deutsche Bank. All European banks look the same. It is hailing out, or sleeting. Right. Quest Diagnostics. Always liked the stock. Not seeing anything that jumps out at me yet, though. I had a 5 to 7 day pullback after a gap down. Remember, a gap down usually takes about 5 days before we start to rotate back up, challenge that gap area. That'll be our first area of resistance, and eventually maybe get through it. DGX, I do like that one. I mean, I just think that health-wise, everyone's going to be. Disney, yeah. Had that kind of a top on the earnings there. But not bad. You know, it's not selling off aggressively like it topped out and it was sell the news. It just looks like markets here just holding. This one's actually holding up. And it probably just had earnings on a bad day. The market probably was coming down hard. But it's holding up there. It's holding above the 20. I think it's not that bad. I bet that Disney goes. I'm going to write it down. Disney is going to go. Adobe. That's an interesting inverted head and shoulders pattern. Look, I took my pen. I was going to write it on the screen here. This right here. Where most of the stocks have taken out that 200 period moving average. And again, if I just do a straight up comparison to the SPX or the SPY, let's do the SPY, which is a bit cleaner. So look at the SPY now. Now the SPY head and shoulders underneath the 200 period moving average. The Adobe is above the 200 period moving average. Interesting, right? Same basically, but showing some relative strength that way. Someone waved at me on how do you wave back? I just waved back at you. Jokin. I think I pronounced the name wrong, but I tried. Hold on, what's that noise coming through? Hey, Johnny. Awesome. Alright, apparently I have that set up to come through. I don't want... So let's get back to it. Adobe. Let's zoom out here too. So Adobe actually looked really nice. DLB. It's tried to break out of this area a couple times. I mean, multiple times. You have that recent high up here, 71, 72. We'll call it 72. It's at 69. Um, yeah, wow. So we had a couple big candles. Where does this thing start to get the momentum and make a run for the border? Volume, it did get a cross back up. I think that gives us good momentum. I think that happens tomorrow, actually. I think it happens tomorrow. I'm gonna circle that one. Dolby. And you know that Dolby Stereo, Dolby owns the patent for NXPI near frequency. I did some research a long time ago. I thought I was the only one that found this out. And I said, "Wow, no one's calling. No one's. I don't know how the patents work. I don't know if where I read it. I can't even find it again. But I did read it once. And I always thought that Adobe was a hidden gem because of that, even though not knowing the monetary value. Here's a scene of a crime, a big gap up on this. I don't know if it was a buyout rumor or what, but that was $74 all the way up here. Closing price was right where we are right now, so that's into 70. I think we start to get up here. All right, so Adobe looks good. I want to actually go to the next one. It's taking a longer time to go through these, but I think there's a lot of good setups. Duluth Holdings. I think Duluth is that underwear thing. These tend to look really good. I mean, tend to work out really good. That's the weekly. That's the daily. That actually looks fine. Let's go through Dunkin' Donuts. Nice reversal candle on Dunkin' Donuts. DRI, nice flag. Darden Restaurants. Dexcom, Tight Stop's favorite, nice flag. Looks good. I mean, just off the highs, it's probably going to, why would it stop now? Brinker, another restaurant stock, looks pretty good. Echo Labs, again, same thing. It actually looks okay here. You can see that 14.3 is kind of embedded. The other one's moving back down. All these look prime for tomorrow. Con Edison getting hit. Equifax, no interest in that. I'm going to write that one down because I want to get rid of that. EFX. I'll get rid of that one. I don't trade that. Energy Bull and 3 times Bull Energy. Good to look at. Express Scripts. Extremely strong. Looking good. Holding that 20-period moving average. Got a nice rotation. It looks fine. Ford holding up pretty good all of a sudden. Probably a little divergence. And there's our Fastenal. Oh, God. Fastenal, you guys know that. And who got into this? I think NZ got into this last week. This was a great setup. This was absolutely had everything we wanted about it. This was one of my favorites from last week. Had an underlying trend line. You had a divergence right here. You had everything going for you. Last time it was in, yeah, I thought it was. All right, that's an organized stock. That's the kind of stocks I like to watch, especially this one. I mean, it's not. It looks great here. I mean, it's breaking out. It's infrastructure stock is what we called. But all right, we'll continue on. Facebook. That's starting to look interesting. You know, it's oversold. I mean, if there's any news and flushes us out, that'd be even more interesting. It's on a big support area. It's chopping around. It's underneath it. I'm not a big fan of it. I've dropped off of Facebook. I don't really use it too much, just to sometimes post some family stuff. But you know what? It is. It's organized. It's pulled back, closed that kind of the closing of the gap. I'm going to keep my distance on that. I'm not really liking it. FN here. Fossil, no interest. Fox A, no interest. First Solar, always interested in it, but nothing going on it. Fortinet, General Dynamics. EIS. That looks. See how that's holding that 20 period moving average, holding above the 20. It's flagging out. It's a little bit better. A lot of these are holding under the 20. The Gold Trust, Corning, GLW is holding under the 20 right now. Kind of a 5 to 7 day pullback. I like the Adobe better than this one right now. Generac, that's actually an inverted head and shoulders pattern coming into that they do the generators. Usually good in the winter. Google, got to be a Google fan down here. Absolutely. Closed that gap a couple times. Nice day today. I think it has a big day in it coming up very soon. Just seeing, just you know what? I don't know if, we'll have to watch it. I don't see myself getting in it, but I'm going to look at it tomorrow. I'm writing it down. GlaxoSmithKline, too volatile. Goodyear Tires, I've never traded anymore. Hack is the ETF for cybersecurity. That's also an inverted head and shoulders pattern, which the whole market basically is looking like. Halliburton, you can see the weakness there. Home Depot. All right, so Home Depot, a couple candles. We sometimes call this a tweezer bottom, but it's not really at a bottom. But we have two good tweezers that came down. But that's okay. You could have a candle in between. Definitely, if you're taking a shot on this, just put your stop under the tweezer low. I mean, the lows here. Look at this breakdown. This is a beautiful channel. When you have that trend line, I should say, the trend line here was so good. It went out for 2 years. When you have something that breaks down through it, you say, that trend line was shit. No, it wasn't. It was actually perfect. It always gets it on the rebound. You know, that's always like the breakdown and the retracement, and then the follow through to the downside. That underlying retest of a trend line is so good to trade off of. First of all, it's a great area to use as a target. Second, it's a great short. It's an absolutely fantastic short. So, I mean, that's even something worth finding if you could find that. Just a retracement short. I don't even focus on too much because it's just have to have enough stocks to go through and have those trend lines on all those stocks. I manually put these in and they stay. but there's probably a lot of trend lines I'm not putting in here. IAC Interactive Corp. IBM. That's pretty organized, once this thing starts to trend back up, I don't know what's gonna cause that. But I like it down here. I've been trading in and out of it a little. This is another example of a trend line breakdown and a retracement back up to it and then fall. We get back above it, look for a pullback to hold. Is it over? Guess it's over for tonight. Am I on? I'm on, right? Did this go off? That'd be awful if I lost it. Testing 1, 2. All right. All right, good. Just wanted to make sure, already doing an hour of the research here. IBM. Keeping an eye on the other thing. I will get back to the ES here in a second. IMAX. Ended up being a good follow through on the short. I mean, it was a good short. Ingersoll Rand, that's pretty strong. IWM here. Here's the Russell. And this has been showing the most weakness. But look at over here. What could you see over here? Violent moves, a couple big candles. The candles work good on the Russell, even though you had a big down day here and then an inside day and a follow through. The stochastics here oversold and chopped around and probably put a divergence in right here. It's a tough one, but it did register as a mathematical divergence with the lower low and then a reversal candle and pushed higher. Back here we had the same thing. We kind of got oversold, chopped around a couple days, reversed, pushing up. Here we had a pop, trend line break, cross back up, oversold, cross back up, oversold, cross back up. Here we definitely broke down. We got embedded. It was severe selling. Broke down. Look where we came to. That big pennant formation, that trend line. Look at how we hit it perfectly. Bounced off of it, came back through it. Bounced back up. Now we're chopping around it. Like to see it hold it on the upside, or at least if prove something. Still a good index to watch. What can we tell? We have the candle on our side. That's about it. Let's see what else is next. I'll try to get through these faster. I know everyone's. Johnson & Johnson, Rob mentioned this one earlier today in the chat. Look at this. We follow this, track this whale, this giant shark, the Johnson & Johnson shark, out of this falling wedge pattern. We talked about this area being our best opportunity to buy. If we look back now where it is, it's moved up here. We flagged out, popped, flagged, trend line held up, finally broke down through the trend line. But what do we say about trend lines? Trend line retracement is always great. Even if it's higher, it's just a great line to follow and short into. Now, it did pull back a little off that trend line, but I think it's touch and go. I mean, who wants to short Johnson & Johnson at the highs? Well, maybe someone does. Johnson & Johnson. JP Morgan, back in it. We're in it over here. Big pop, got out. It's pulled back. Got in today. Closed on the highs. Love it, love it, love it. You know what I love about it? Big channel. what's the important thing about these trend lines? They come back and they hold up after, just the volatility getting through them. But eventually, if there's not that much volatility, they'll start holding their weight. They'll start holding the stock the way it should. And as you can see here, it popped and it came back down, closed back about it. It's holding there. It's holding. Plus, we have an underlying trend line, which is that went out pretty far, almost 2 years. And that seems to be holding too. So X marks the spot. Warren Buffett, 200-period moving average. Let's hope for the best going into this one tomorrow. But in that one, Kellogg. I have some Cali, a couple hundred shares of this one. I saw some insiders buying it, and it's down about $2 on it. And that insider buying, that's a $6 stock, did not work out. KHC. Interesting. Kimberly Clark. Coca-Cola. Monster run. And again, where did it all start? Down here at the divergence. This system works great for like making a couple moves throughout the year. Or at least that nice swing trade. Give it a divergence, placing your stop underneath it. A good one like that. In the pattern, you have a downward pattern, you have a divergence, most likely you're going to break out. Now we can break that down, 60-minute time frame, 5-minute. But you get one on the daily, sometimes it's, you don't want to miss any of those. If you're in that type of trade, if you're like, all right, we're getting in here on that divergence, and we're going to come back in a couple months and check it out and see what it's doing. Most likely you're going to be doing much better than the average. Let's see what we have next. Michael Kors, handbag you can buy in Chinatown for $20. I know. I mean, I heard. Kroger, nice pullback to the 20. Kohl's, just took out the highs and came back. LABU, we're up on that possible bounce here. Again, trend line breakdown. We're looking for a retracement. That first retracement will bring us back up. I didn't check, but take a look at these candles. You see how far they're apart? Almost looks like there could be a weekly setup here on a divergence. Let's take a look. I don't remember if I looked at this or not. Drum roll, please. There's your weekly. No. You see it, but you don't see it. There's no pivot. It's holding its own, but no. I just was testing it. I wanted to see what it looked like. All right. Anything else? Liberty Global, LBDYA. It's a nice reversal candle back there, and we came down here, kind of held on to that. It's starting to turn back up. I mean, your chances right now are probably pretty good. Not a divergence, but you got the rotation heading back up. This thing has been crushed. It looks like it has stock rot written all over it, though. That means you want to be in and out real fast. I would even pass on it. There's too many good things in this market right now. Don't waste it on that. Eli Lilly, love it. LLY, nice consolidation. Oh man, that thing looks good. Looks very nice. Recently gapped up, then moved down, pushed back up. It is chopping around, holding the 20-period moving average. This thing wants to go. It's only $112. We're going to look at options tomorrow on this. I mean, look at the consolidation here. Pretty much the whole. Once this thing breaks out, we're probably going to get a nice little run. 115. The highs here, 116 is not bad. I'm going to see if I can find the options on these. If I could find them on here. So we're going to look at December's. I guess that would be December 21st. And let me see, is there some volume on this already? Oh no, yeah. Come on, you bum. All right, so we're looking at December 21 to 115s. That's pretty good. $175. They're under $2. 115s are under $2. All right, well, let's look. I got that one written down for me tomorrow. I might take a shot on this one. Eli Lilly. But it's going to probably end up being on the watch list anyway. Lululemon, LULU. Double bottom diverge. It's not a big fan of it. I haven't traded that. LUV, great trend line retracement. Gap down to it, chopped around it. Now it's popped. Recently had some upgrades on this. I think Goldman came out, or Morgan Stanley, one of the big firms here, initiated the airlines, and I think LUV was I'm not sure, it was a buy. Mattel, interesting candle today on Mattel. Could be McDonald's. It's just like Coca-Cola and McDonald's. Tag team world champions. Mondelez. We talked about that top part of that range. It is heading up there. $3M. That's pretty strong. Altria getting hit on the menthol and flavored cigarettes. This is crazy, I think. Not selling flavored cigarettes. I just don't understand why they would let them. I know what you're saying. They're going to try to get them, but I don't see it. I don't see them searching out of flavored cigarettes. Get rid of flavored beer. Get rid of. Let's stop selling Mike's Lemonade. Mike's Lemonade. Jesus, if that doesn't sound good. They sell that in convenience stores. I see that. That's all over the place. This came up with, yeah. So here's the outro. I mean, wow. Talk about charting this. We were all about this stock down here. We followed it all the way up. I remember trading this on the retracement, the divergences. Look at that trend line all the way up here. Now we have some bad news of whatever, but this is probably going to be a buying opportunity. I'm going to have this one on my list and looking for a reversal on this. The weekly might have an argument for divergence. Absolutely have an argument for divergence, and you wonder if you're eventually going to get back down here. It's kind of scary. Big trend line down here, so you almost want to wait for it. So, but I'm going to watch it. That would be great down here. That'd be 51. It's 50 cents. It's not that far. 49 would be great. Wow, that would be. It's a hidden trend line under here. All right, well, we'll have to watch that one. Let's continue on. The OMs. No Monsanto. Wow, look at the nice move in Mosaic. I didn't even see that. Merck and Company, great. I mean, drug companies are great right now. That looks good. Motorola Solutions, one of the stronger stocks out there. NCR, National Cash Register. Remember those big cash registers, big buttons? That was the original company. NCR. That's what it stands for. Nike. I mean, that's point of sale. They do point of sale now. You know, you go in there and you check out machines and you're probably, fast food stuff. There's Nike. I wanted to short the crap out of Nike. Let me check out the daily. Go back to the daily here. MSI. I was looking at these. So here's Merck. This is a nice flag. I looked at it on a weekly by mistake. Nice flag. MSI, stronger flag. NCR, there's the NCR, and there's Nike. There's Rubbermaid, NWL, here popping. Oh, here's Occidental Petroleum, retracement to that trend line and a bounce. Pretty close. OXY. Panasonic here is going down in flames. Procter & Gamble, extremely strong. Packaging Corp, PKG, been burned on that before. Haven't been back. Russian ETF RSX, large inverted head and shoulders pattern. Raytheon before Samuel at Boston Sam Adams. Schlumberger here. Schlumberger at $48. Let's go out. I want to take a look at this. How far we go out on this Schlumberger. Looked at it back here. Wow, look at how. Wow. $117 down to 48. I think it's getting rocked. Gotta watch it. I mean, why is it down? I don't follow the oil and gas sector, but is it as down as much? What's the other ones? ConocoPhillips? Is that similar to? Yeah. Well, they all have that. I don't. This almost looks like it's exhausting itself. The volume picked up. I would actually look for a long on this next couple of days. Next couple trading whatever days. SPY, of course, big piercing pattern. Stericycle. All right, STX here had that bounce and putting in a higher low. And again, SWK, one of my best bets for tomorrow. That is. Depending on news, if there's any, we'll see. Tap, gonna get through this fast. THC, TMF, Thomson Reuters. Nice flag, 200, just another pop, just Tractor Supply Company. Ulta Salons, UNH, nothing. Not seeing anything really great on these last few. Vero looks like an inverted head and shoulders pattern too. Lead news. Verizon, how do you go wrong? Fios, people are just sucking up that bandwidth. I was always a big fan of this, and then I got bored of it. I think I was in this one for a while, in this tight, long consolidation chop zone, and then finally we break out, and look at that thing move. Almost to the end of the list here, and that's going to be, and then I have I'll tell you what I have left over. WDC, I kind of like it. I think there's something brewing here. I think the December options might be worth looking at. Waste Management, one of my favorites. Big pop today. Looks like it's challenging the highs, recent highs. No reason why it shouldn't. Looks great. I better get some follow through tomorrow too. Waste Management. I got it. Walmart broke down after earnings. ExxonMobil. Yum Brands. And that's it. That's 208 stocks we went through real fast. Took me an hour and 12 minutes to do that. Out of that, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 stocks that I filtered out of that. 13 stocks I filtered out of that. And those 13 stocks, I want to go through real fast. We'll say it's 1:13. That's the time. I'll put that on the video. You guys can skip to the 1:13 area of the video. All right, we mentioned the coupe, the team, the new. Oh, not new. The now, I mean. All right. A lot of these oversold, which I like. Like the reversal candle. Like the freshness of this. So that's one of my best bets. And the other one is the SWK. Love everything about this. The follow through, the Nike crossover, the hold in the trend line, follow through the big space up here. So those two right now. ADM. Possible divergence. No setup yet. Watching it. So mark that off as no good. ADP. Decent holding way off to 200. Nice cross back up. Nice, not that far from the highs. But I don't see myself getting in that, so I'm going to pass on that. So mark that one off. AET, very strong. I mean, strong stocks are strong. I mean, it's hard not to say get in them and go for it. Good volume. It's holding up. I think it probably goes higher. Amazon, AMZN, could have a huge day tomorrow. Could have a gap and go on this. There's an old trend line here. If we get through it, I think you could have a nice day. Amazon. AXP. Big candle. It looks like it's going to go higher. I like this as a longer term trade. Did I say I was looking at that? All right. DLB, Dolby. Good inverted head and shoulders pattern. Looks like it wants to take out the highs. And something about this I really do like. It's been choppy though. It hasn't gotten through this level. I don't know if we're going to call it. We're going to watch it tomorrow on the screen. Google. Another one, the leg to trend line down here. I think we're going to hold that. We're going to work our way off and push higher. I think this is going to help the markets. Not a real good divergence, but there is something here. When we dropped and we came down lower, we kind of chopped around here. We saw that divergence on the 9-3. Chopped around and it came back down. Still holding that original divergence from this low to this low and holding above that. So I think this one also big mover. Let's take a look at the PSA coming in on the chat room. Yeah, maybe double top. Yeah, holding under the 200. Yeah. Nice. All right, let me just finish the review of the review. Adobe, Google, Eli Lilly, LLY. I think we're looking at the 112 options on this. 112 options, or 115s, but it's traded out at 112. I like this a lot. It's a drug company. I mean, you can have news that moves this any direction. Altria, here, I'm going to start watching it for a bounce. And the OXY, I thought I had more better things here. OXY is a trendline retracement. I don't trade the oil and gas stocks as much anymore, but I like Occidental Petroleum because it patterns out good. Nice divergence back here. Pretty organized on the trend line. So I want to say this trend line holds. And we move higher off of this. Not that far off the recent highs. It's not that far. Occidental Petroleum, OXY. And let's go down to SLB. Oh, really oversold. I mean, I want to look into this. I circled it because I have to look into a little bit more on this, but this is really oversold. SLB. Waste management. Continues to look good. No reason why it doesn't take out the highs. I'm still going to go with the SWK unless there's news. The news stocks. I'm going to go with the new ones that I'm in. My best bet, the Coop, the SWK, which is not a new stock, Coop, and ServiceNow. I don't even know if I even went into JP Morgan, but JP Morgan, I think we got to follow through on that too. X marks the spot. I should actually say JP Morgan up there. All right, JP Morgan. All right, so I want to stop the video, send this out, even though it's too long. But if you got to hear some of this, then good. Let me stop this now.